Good morning, class. Welcome back to geography class. And today we are going to see the last session of the chapter migration. And so let's start here with the impact of migration. Already you have studied about the migration and different types of migration, but now we are going to see about the impact of migration, and we are going to see that how this migration impacts the destination country. Means when the people migrate to some other countries, how it impact that particular country. And secondly, we are going to see when the people they migrate to some other countries, how it impact to the home country, the place from where they have migrated. So we are going to see here, we are going to study about some of the advantages and disadvantages of migration in destination country, and then we are going to see about some of the advantages and disadvantages of migration to the home country. So let's start here. First of all, the advantages and disadvantages of migration in destination countries. And first we are going to see about the advantages. Already we have seen when the large number of people they migrate from some country to some destination country which they choose, and we are going to see what that particular destination country will have the impact of that migration. Suppose some people migrate from India to United States of America, and how these Indians they will impact the country United States of America. So first we are going to see the advantages, and the first advantage is in United States of America usually there are so many companies, and usually the local labor means the wage, the salary usually is very high because of the government, the rules and regulation. They have to pay their employees, and so when the people from Asia, like from our country India or maybe Pakistan or some other Asian countries, when they go to USA, what happen? Now usually these big multinational companies they hire them at very cheap, or you can say at very low rate. So like this actually all these companies they get cheap labor, so they pay less and they have to pay less wage, low wage. But these people from Asia or maybe Africa even, so they work very hard and they are much honest, and even they can work for longer period of time. Why? Because these people from Asia, when they get the salary there in US dollar, and that salary according to the in comparison to Indian rupee or the Asian currency in the different countries, it is much higher. Means whatever work they do in United States of America and same work if they do in India or in Asian country, and whatever wage or salary they will get here, so even though the salary which they get that is less in comparison to the other people, means the local people, what they get the salary that is less than that, but in comparison to the salary which they can get in India or in the Asian countries, it will be much higher. And this is why these people they work very happily. So first thing, these countries means the destination countries they get cheap labor. Second thing, Now here usually the people, when they go from India or maybe from other Asian countries or Africa to United States of America or some other developed countries, now usually because they are very focused. Why they have gone to these developed countries? So that they can earn money and they can save it. And that's why they work hard. They develop their skill. The most of the focus actually is to develop their skill, to take it to the higher level. And that's why these people, maybe from India or maybe from other countries, they are very, very skilled and talented because they are very, very focused. They don't waste their money, they don't waste their time. They are very focused to their work or the assignment what they have been given. Why? Because for that only they have gone there. The third advantage is the cultural diversity. Now what happened? The immigrants actually, like suppose Indians, when Indians now slowly and slowly, if you'll find about the data of the Indians, how they have gone to United States of America, and now there are large number of Indians. They have got the green card there and they have settled in United States of America. I'm just taking the example of United States of America. We can take the other countries also. Now there are large number of people, not they are the local, they have just settled there, not only in USA but in even some other developed countries also. If you take the example of UK or maybe Italy or maybe France, Spain, even in those countries also large number of people they have settled there, and now they have also got the citizenship of that particular countries. Well, but the thing is, suppose now you are taking the example of Indians. Now usually when the Indians they settled even in United States of America, they don't leave their culture. Means what is the culture? The food what they eat, the dress what they wear, means the Indian dress. Usually they use the Indian dress, Indian tradition, Indian festivals as they celebrate together. And so what happened when the local people in these countries, when they see all these things, and what happened, they get so much interested. Means they just they are very, very so they get very impressed by the Indian culture. And what happened, like this also provides a cultural diversity. Because of this actually now in the foreign countries like USA and even in some European countries, even the people, the local people even, they have started wearing the saris. I'm just giving one example how they are, and they are also start eating the Indian dishes, different type of dishes, not only Indian, now slowly and slowly Thai dishes, Chinese dishes, they are getting more popular there in these countries like United States of America and other European countries. So this is example of cultural diversity, as these people when they migrate to these countries, they also brings there the cultural diversity. Now let's see about the disadvantages. Now the first disadvantage is the job loss. Now what happened when, because the migrants actually, we call them immigrants, the people from the other countries, now usually because they are ready to work at very, very low wage, and that's why most of the companies and the multinational companies actually they hire them, and that actually creates a job loss. For whom? For the local people. Because now the local people, they have more pressure. Now they have more pressure to increase their skill level. Now they need to be more focused. They have to become more focused, hardworking, honest. All these skills they have to develop. Why? Because these immigrants, they are providing these all things. So this is why the disadvantage, the first disadvantage here, in these countries, the destination country can be seen is the job loss. Next is the discrimination and racism. Now because of this, actually what happened, the local people, now what happened, a jealousy starts creating, means they just jealousy, or you can say ill will, ill feeling, actually it starts developing in these local people's heart, and that leads to the what thing, discrimination and racism. That's why you can find the in European countries like in UK or USA, the local people, some of the local people, some of the resident of these countries, they hate Indians. Why? Because they are very very hard working. Now they don't spend so much time in just spending their money, or maybe in the some different type of things, and that's why this type of discrimination and racism, it starts developing among the local people. Another is the social pressure. Now because what happened, now usually the government have a very very limited facilities. A government can provide a limited facilities to their citizens, and as the large number of people, when they starts migrating from the different countries to some destination country, what happened, it also starts creating a social pressure. There are certain type of amenities like housing, health, education, now they get a increased pressure. So this is the third disadvantage, social pressure starts developing in these destination countries. The fourth one, breakdown of culture and tradition. Now breakdown of culture. Now what happened here, the different people, actually they are exposed to the different ways of doing things. Why? How? Let's see here. Now suppose in some remote area, suppose in remote area of USA, now very few people usually live. Now they don't know many things, like many types of crime they don't know. But what happened when the immigrants, when they come there, and what happened, from them actually they can learn new types of crime, new types of things, and which can also actually is the negatively, it break down the culture and tradition. So the same way, this is a disadvantage, wrong things, when the local people, when they learn actually the wrong things from these immigrants, so that can actually develop the negative breakdown of culture and traditions. Another thing is disease. A very recent example we can see. Now what happened in Wuhan in China, what happened when the coronavirus, it spreads there, and what happened, large number of people from the other countries, what happened, they just fled to so many countries carrying the disease, and this is how actually this disease from Wuhan China spreads there all over the world. And you can find the result, what happened. Same way actually, time to time we have seen in the history also, same type of things happened, but not at such large scale like as we are facing now at present, as we can facing this coronavirus, not this type of thing, but this type of epidemic actually they have already been seen in past. There is example of Spanish flu. Now it happened there in Spain, but what happened from the Spain, actually when the people they migrate to some other countries, what happened, they have taken to those places. One example actually, that the same way the Spanish flu, it came to India and it spreads there in Gujarat and in some parts of India even. Well, the government control it. Well, the same way now at present you can find coronavirus also we have seen. So this is the disadvantage. So we have seen here the different advantages and disadvantages. Now let's move to the some of the advantages and disadvantages of migration to the home country. Home country means when the large number of people they migrate from, suppose we take an example of India. Now when people from India they migrate to USA or other European countries, so what advantages and disadvantages actually India we're going to face. So let's see. So we're going to see the example of India. We'll take here the first thing, we're going to see about the advantages. So when actually what happened, any person from some family, suppose they migrate to some very developed countries like in United States of America or UK or maybe France, and they get a very good job and very good salary. So what happened, the first advantage is remittances. Remittances means what happened, they just send back a large sum of money to their families. So like this they support the family, they support their family members. So like this, actually one more thing, India also get the foreign exchange, because from Britain, suppose if any Indian is working there, so what he will send, he will send the pound, and what will happen, so this pound will be changed into Indian currency rupee, and then it will be given to his family. But the thing is, like this, India also gets the foreign exchange. So remittances, this is the first advantage. The second advantage is the better job opportunities for locals. Now, because as all of you know, the population in India is increasing. So when the large number of people, they get the good job in some other countries, in some developed countries, so what happen, there are more chances for the other people for the jobs. So the other people, they can get the better jobs, for which actually more the best people, they have actually left that position or designation or some post. Because why? Because they have migrated or they have gone to some other countries. Next is the knowledge and skill flow. Now in this, actually what happened, when we will take the example of some seasonal migration. Now suppose some people actually from India, suppose they go to some countries like United States of America, and they suppose we just take an example of the scientist. Now suppose some space scientist, now he get opportunity to work in NASA. Now in NASA, actually what will happen, for suppose he is deputed there and he worked there for 5 years, but for 5 years actually he get the more exposure, more experience, and he will learn, he will develop new skill, new technologies. So when he will return back to India, what will happen, he will spread the same thing, he will able to teach those things, those skills, those technologies and everything, actually he can bring it back to India and he can share it back to in India. So this is how actually the knowledge and skill flow, this is how this knowledge of the different technology and different skill, actually it flows from the other foreign countries to the home country. Example, you have seen here, we are taking the example of India. Now these are the advantages. Now let's see here about the disadvantages. So the first disadvantage is loss of skilled labor. Now what happened, usually we can take the example of IITians and IIMs. Now there is a great demand of the students who actually pass out from IITs in India and Indian management, Indian Institutes of Management, IIMs, because these institutes, they just provide very good students, highly skilled the labor workforce. So that's why they have a great demand in the foreign countries. And what happened, these genius doctors and nurses and engineers, they migrate to some other countries. Now these people, actually they can contribute so much in our country, but instead of that, actually they have chosen to migrate, and now as they are working in the United States of America, maybe suppose some companies like Apple or maybe Microsoft or Google or maybe NASA. So what happened, they contribute in these specific organizations. Now instead of, suppose if they work in India like in Infosys or maybe in ISRO or maybe in some other companies, organization, so rather than contributing here in India, now whatever the skill, and as these are the genius people, now they are contributing in the growth of the other countries. So this is a loss of skilled labor. Second thing is the fall in demand for the home goods. Now actually what happened, suppose when very very large number of people they migrate to some countries, what happened, now there is a decrease in population, and what happened, there is a fall in the demand for the home goods can be seen. Now this thing can be taken, we can take example of Syria. Now usually Syria, they were having a very very big population, but what happened, this large part of Syria actually, it came under the terrorist group ISIS, and as they started persecuting the local people, large number of people actually, in many lakhs of people, they migrated to other countries, other European countries, and what happened, the population in Syria, many of the villages actually they have become vacant. The cities, what happened, now the population has just decreased, and it is so less now. So because of this actually, now it is affecting what thing, the economy of the country Syria. Next is the social impact. Now what happened when the parents, suppose from India, suppose in one family, father leaves the family back in India. Now his children and wife is staying back in India, and he just gone to United States of America. Suppose he has gone there for 5 years. Now what happened, his family members, his children and his family back at home in India, they suffer what, they suffer a loss. Now loss of whom, loss of elderly person in the house who can guide these children, who can actually contribute in the family instead. Now he is there in some other countries. So this is called social impact. Now here migration, it can be permanent also, and it can be temporary. Temporary means suppose some people have gone to some other countries for some period, some very short period of time, suppose 3 years, 4 years. Now that is called temporary migration. But what happened, in most cases when people they migrate to some other countries because they see the lifestyle there, and they just tries to get the citizenship there, and they settle there. So that is called permanent migration. So migration is of two types, permanent migration, it can also be a temporary migration. Now next is, we are going to see about some example. So now let's see here about some example of the migration. Now when we will see the example of United States. So United States actually is a country of immigrants. Why? Because the whole America continent, both the North America and South America, both the continent was discovered by Christopher Columbus. And what happened after the discovery of these new continents, large number of people from Europe, they started migrating to these continents. Now what happened in United States of America, in the 19th up to till the 19th and 20th century, large number of people from Europe, they were migrating to these countries in United States of America also. And what happened, so all the people here, these people in America, now they are all immigrants. Why? Because they are all actually migrated from Europe. That's why United States of America is known as the country of immigrants. Now what happened after that actually, when the population it starts increasing in United States of America, now then the government actually decided to restrict the free immigration. And after that what happened, some rules and regulations were made actually by the US government, and according to that actually, for these immigrants actually they need to stay there for 7 years, and some of the things they have to fulfill, and then they can get the green card. Well, after so many things happened internationally, especially the terrorist activities, now the present United States of US government, present US government actually, they have totally stopped the immigration. Now these immigrants actually, they are not allowed actually to get the citizenship of US. Even if you see the recent news actually, now the president of America is Donald Trump, and now actually he has made even the free immigration from the Mexico and the Latin America, because from Mexico and from Latin America large number of people usually illegally they enters in United States of America. Now just to stop this crime and the terrorism activities, actually now the US government have stopped all type of migration. Now let's see another example of Australia. But before we see the another example, I want to show you this figure. This figure 3.7, if you see here, this chart, this diagram, it shows about the Indian immigrants population in the United States of America from 1980 to 2013. So let's see here. In 1980, how many people they migrated to US? 2,06,000. After 10 years, 1990, now this population, Indian population, became 4,50,000. In 2000, means after again 10 years, now it became how much? 10,23,000. Then after 6 years, 2006, what happened? Now 15,19,000. Now just after 4 years, in 2010, what happened here? 17,80,000. And 2013, it reaches to how much? 20,35,000. So if you see here, this increase actually in 1980, when these immigrants from India, just only one country, India, it was how much? 2,06,000 only. And from 2,06,000 in 2013, how many years? It is just 33 years. In 33 years, the Indian population increases to, from 2,06,000, it increases to 20,35,000. So this is the one example I am showing you, that how only one, means the immigrants from one particular country, that is India, they have increased so much in 33 years. Why? Why actually large number of people from India, and not only India, from other countries also, they want to stay or they want to live in United States of America? The reason is because of the quality of life, better lifestyle, the better living, the better job opportunity. Now let's see another example of Australia here. Now Australia is a big continent, and it is actually a underpopulated country, and this is why till 1970 Australia was providing actually a shelter, means they were providing even the home even for the people from Southeast Asia, the country like Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, even India and Bangladesh. So these people were provided the home also, the shelter there. But what happened after that, as the population increased, and especially because of the terrorism activities, now even the Australia also have restricted this migration now. Another example, if you see some example of Soviet Union and some other countries, some other communist countries like China and also North Korea. Now these countries, they don't allow the immigrate. They are not allow the immigration. Now why it is? Due to the political reasons. Now these countries, they don't want actually that people from their country, they should go and settle in other parts of the world, or the people from other countries, they may come to their countries, right? Another example, The universal, the migration we have seen in 1947, some example we are going to see. In 1947, what happened when the Pakistan and India, they were separated? What happened? Large number of Muslims from India, what happened? They migrated to Pakistan. At the same way, large number of Hindus, they migrated to India. Now this is also known as the forced migration. Now usually they don't want actually to migrate, but they have to migrate, and this is example of forced migration. Now some more example. In India you can find, because after the marriage, suppose any girl is married to some other cities or some other state, now that girl, she has to go to her husband's house, right? And these are the factors, varieties of factors like marriage. Now employment means some people actually, suppose from Gorakhpur, they get good job in Tamil Nadu, so what happened, they started working there and they settled there. Education, for better education also, many students, they migrate to some other part of our country itself. Lack of security, now in villages, suppose some example you can take example of Bihar. Now there actually in some area, because of the Naxal activities, because of these Naxalites, what happened, the people are not secure, and so they have migrated. Large number of people, that's why from Bihar they migrated to eastern part of UP, that is Gorakhpur you can find, and Varanasi also. These are the example of lack of security. So we have seen here so many things about the migration. Now let's see another topic, that is the brain drain. Now what is called brain drain? Now brain drain usually refers to a departure of educated or professional people from country, right, economic sector or field for another, usually for the better pay or living conditions. Example, now already suppose example I'm giving you. Now what happens from India? Now because of the better opportunity, a very good salary, very good package actually, many of the people, means new students, new young people from India, now they want to work in other countries, developed countries like United States of America, mostly actually they want, then UK or France or Italy or Spain. Why? Already I told you, because of the better quality of life, better lifestyle, and as many of the young people, they have a dream, they have a one dream actually has built in their mind, that if they can go there, it's also a prestige issue also, right? If their families, even their parents actually, they have so much prestige issues. Well, because of these things actually, what happened, large number of people, especially the genius people, the genius minds we can say. Now what happened, when they get the better opportunity in these countries, so usually they leave their job here back in India, their organization, everything, and they migrate to the countries like the American countries or European countries. Now this is called brain drain. Now this brain drain actually has many causes, so we're going to see about why this brain drain occurs. So first of all, we are going to see about the causes of brain drain. So usually the brain drain has got how many causes? There are the two causes. The first cause is the push factor, and second cause is the pull factor. So let's see about the push factor. What is the push factor? Push factor means, because these people, suppose I'm taking the example of India. Now suppose from our country India, now because of some factor actually, these people actually, they are pushed, means they are forced to migrate to some countries, to other countries, destination countries. That is called push factor. Now pull factor means when these young people, they get attracted for some reason in other countries and they migrate because of that. So we are going to see the push factor. So push factor force the individuals, they move voluntarily. In many cases they are forced because of some risk actually. like example because of some conflict back at home, or maybe because of the famine in the region, or drought. So what happens, those people when they migrate, that is called push factor. So let's see here some of the push factors. The number one is the absence of research facilities. Now the students actually in India, when they don't get the proper research facilities, now they are genius people. Now they, whatever thing actually, what the facility what they want actually, when they don't get here back in India, what happen, they choose to migrate to other countries because they get better facilities there. Second is the employment discrimination back at home actually, when they see in Indian organization so much discrimination. So what happen, they choose to just migrate to other countries, because when they see actually even after so much hard work, their dedication, and they are not been actually promoted, and nothing actually is been seen to them, means no, now nobody actually respect them. So what happen, they usually choose to migrate to some other countries. Another thing, the economic underdevelopment. Now when the young people, when they see there is so much backwardness, right, the thing actually what they need actually, when they don't get actually, right, the because of the economy back at in our country or that place actually is very very backward, so they choose to migrate. Now example, you can take example in Pakistan. Now there are so many sector actually, when the people they don't get the better opportunities because of the underdevelopment, now they choose to just migrate to the other European countries. Another thing, the lack of freedom. Now many people actually, especially the young people from especially the countries like Russia or China, right, now they want to just leave their country. Why? Because these countries are the communist country, and they don't get the freedom actually what they need or they want. Another thing, the poor working condition. When these young people they don't get the proper condition to work there, and because of that also they choose to migrate. Next is the lack of job opportunity. Now even after so much skill and so much talent, when the young people they don't get the better opportunity, they choose to migrate to other countries. Next is the discriminating culture. Now in discriminating culture means actually in some countries, when especially in Pakistan, now usually that is a Muslim country, now what happened, they don't show respect to the people actually of other religion, like the Hindus or the Christians. So these people actually, because they have so much talent and they have a better skill, that's why they choose to migrate to other countries. Next is the political intolerance. Now in political intolerance means actually, when some countries actually they don't have the good political system. Now suppose if they have, suppose time to time you can find in Pakistan, there was a time actually, large period of time actually, some dictator actually ruled there over Pakistan, and during those time actually large number of people, what happened, they migrated to the other countries. That is the political intolerance. Now next we are going to see about the pull factor. The pull factor, we are going to see what factor actually that pull these young people. The number one is the superior economic outlook in the other countries, because they have a superior economic outlook actually, superior economy. Another thing, prestige of foreign training. Now suppose when some people, when they suppose even they work for a short period of time in foreign countries, and back at home in India they usually have some prestige, and because of that also they sometimes they migrate to other countries to just get some foreign training. Another thing, stable political environment. Now usually the people they want to live in countries where the political system, the whole political environment is very very stable. So in some countries when the political environment is not so stable, so the large number of people, especially the talented people, they migrate. Another is the modernized educational system for the superior training. Now usually many developing countries they don't have the proper training systems. That's why these people, the young people especially, they usually migrate to other countries because they get the superior training there. Next is the intellectual freedom. When the people, suppose example, you can find the Salman Rushdie or so many writers actually, because they don't have the intellectual freedom in their countries. Now Salman Rushdie, he didn't get that freedom in Pakistan, so he just migrated to UK. So many examples you can find. Rich cultures. Now in the foreign countries, the European culture actually is very, very rich. But in the some countries like in the Middle East, now there the culture is not so rich. Well, because of that also, better economic opportunities in the foreign countries, usually as these people they get the better economic opportunities, more job opportunities. So these are some factor because of which is called pull factor. So we have seen the pull factor and push factor. Now we are going to see about the impact of brain drain. So first we are going to see about the positive impact, and then we are going to see about the negative impact. So let's start. First is the positive impact. Now first of all, the first positive impact actually is when the people from the less developed countries. Now what happened when they, so these people actually in the other foreign countries, the developed countries, they actually get the better skill. They develop the better skill, right? And new skill, they learn new skill and new expertise. And when they come back to their country, what happened? They bring that same skill to their back to their country, the home country. That is the one, the positive effects. Another one, now here as the people they migrate to foreign countries, what happen? They send money back to their relatives and back to their families back at home in their countries. Next, the money remittances help in reducing the level of poverty. Now suppose many countries you will find example of the Bhutan. Now Bhutan actually is a very, very poor country. Nepal also is a very poor country. Now what happened from these countries when the people they migrate to countries like India, and whatever they earn here by their salary, so they send the money back at home, and because of that actually even the economy of their country is also helped. The same way actually you can find the same thing example of Bangladesh and India and Pakistan. Now when these people they go to the European countries and American countries, the same thing, they just send that foreign currency back to their countries, and this is how actually they also help actually their home country. Now next we are going to see about the negative effects. So the first negative effect, as what happened, let's take an example of the IIT. Now IIT actually usually to get admission in IIT, now what happened, the large number of students they sit in the examination, and only the students who just score very high marks in the entrance examination, they get the admission in IIT. Now usually IIT, all the education actually is provided by government. The fees actually in IIT is very, very less. So the most of the expenses actually is provided by the Indian government. So here actually the Indian government is just investing so large sum of money there, right, in these people. And what happened, instead of working back in our country and contributing the development and the economy of our country, what happened when these people, when they get the opportunity in the foreign countries, what happened, they migrate. So this is the one loss. This is a brain drain, and this is the one loss of these genius people. Next is the shortage of skilled and competent people in India. Now usually which people used to migrate to the other countries? The people actually who are very, very highly skilled, who are usually we can say they are the genius people, those who are very, very competent. Now these people when they migrate, what happened back at home, which type of people left? The people who are not so much skilled, or you can say who are not so much hardworking people. They are not so competent. So all the genius people, because they went to the other countries. Now next is the loss of potential future entrepreneurs. Now because who actually usually can become an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur actually is a person who actually has a one dream, a vision actually to establish an organization. And when any person actually is having a big dream to just establish a big organization, so usually he provides a large number of jobs to the back at home in their country, and they can contribute in the economy of their country. But instead of that actually what they choose to just migrate to other countries. You can find so many examples. You can find the example of Lakshmi Kumar Mittal, one industrialist actually in UK, one very, very rich man. Now he established the whole thing, the whole means industry there, where in United Kingdom, means in England. Now suppose that person would be in India, then he would be contributing to the economy and the development of our country, India. Next is the loss of innovative ideas and investment in education. Now when these genius people actually, when they migrate to some other country, what happen? So there is a loss of innovative ideas. Next is the loss of critical health and education services, lack of the industrial growth, etc. So these are some negative effects. So we have seen here the positive effect and the negative effect. Now for you actually, very soon you will be, this is the one assignment, the summer assignment. The portion is over for the first semester, because there is only 3 chapters you have to study. Very soon you will get the question answer, right? I will try to just send it, and it will be there in the website. But here is the assignment, it highlighted here. So the assignment is: prepare a project on positive and negative impacts of brain drain in India. Also suggest the measures to control it in the interest of the country. So this is the project. It's a small assignment. You have to write it in 3 or 4 pages, not more than that, and you have to do it in the fair copy. Okay, all the best. Goodbye.